Hippodot, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great day today, a great weekend. Cement Shoes, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia, Cement Shoes. Inner Peas, good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. Lieutenant RN, good evening. Catalisa, welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope we all had a great weekend. Hopefully the weather in your area has been cooperating if you need to do things outside or wanted to get out and just take a walk. Why is there a number by my name? I don't know. Everyone has a number next to their name so far. I do not know, Inner Peas. Lemon Pie is 6633. Cement Shoes 1425. I don't know. Do not know why it's showing that. Man, everyone's got a number. Hippodot 679. Lemon Pie 6633. Weird. Well, no, see, no, Kitty Q doesn't have a number. It's just at Kitty Q. Maybe that's what YouTube is doing. I mean, and I know where like when it comes to if you don't pick your own name, like or account name on YouTube, it will automatically just assign one for you. So you could be Lemon Pie, 6633. That's what they picked for you. Purple. Good evening, Purple. And Purple is 1973. It's one of those things. I have no control over it. I picked my name, so it shouldn't have a number next to. I'll say hello. See if it puts a number next to. Oh, see, I'm just 411 now. Gianna Marie. Good evening, Gianna Marie. JDR. Maybe, was it Cement Shoes? No, who was it? Inner Peas, number one. Maybe you're just number one. Yeah, Inner Peas, number one. Just number one. Or you're my number one fan. Huh? Purple is cooking dinner. Well, welcome everyone to tonight's trivia. Tonight we are answering 20 multiple choice questions on Bryan Kohberger, the alleged murderer of the 4 college students from the University of Idaho. Kitty Q, you kind of feel left out because you didn't get a number? I'm sorry. Did you pick your name on YouTube? And I know it's in the settings underneath customization or something. You go and click on the customization tab on the left side. At least it is for me. It's on the left side, and then you go to channel, and then it should set up and have the information there. Or at the upper part to the right, you click on your actual icon, and that'll bring up your channel, and then it should list the information there where you can choose, at Inner Peas or at Purple Winks. You guys, I stink at Kohberger case. I'm sure that we'll all help each other. Remember, again, as Kitty Q, and others like to remind you, make sure that you are on live chat or all chat, not top chat. It's because otherwise you will have a delay between the actual comment section and what you're seeing. So, your comments, the comments and people answering the questions is obviously delayed. You'll see the questions in an appropriate time. You're just not going to see the messages that correspond with the question. So obviously YouTube has assigned a number to my name. I would not use that number. Well, again, JDR, like I said, you can go into your YouTube settings and you can actually pick that a number. But please keep in mind, you may not be able to get just JDR or inner P's. There may be somebody else assigned to that name, or whatever you want to be called. So if you're JDR, there may be a JDR already. You might even own some of or have some of the names. If you've had more than one YouTube account and you closed one down or you stopped using it because you forgot the password, this happens. And then you use JDR later on and changed it to that, it can actually just assign you like a number. If you don't know the answers, just say Barry Morphew's Chipmunks. All right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 362nd episode of True Crime Trivia. 362nd episode. And welcome everyone, and thank you everyone for being here for trivia night. I really appreciate it. Warning, this trivia strictly adheres to factual evidence and verified data from the FBI and the Department of Justice in Scotland and Yard when needed. It does not include conspiracy theory speculations or unverified claims about what may have happened. If you are seeking sensationalism or content related to similar theories or lies spread by those who can't be bothered to do the research on the topic, this event and topic may not be the right fit for you. Neither I nor my advertiser or sponsors associated with this content shall be held responsible for individuals under the age of 17 accessing this material. It is age restricted on every venue that I stream to. Additionally, we are not liable for comments or live chat messages, as these do not necessarily reflect our views or opinions. That is mainly for Facebook and for X, because people feel that they can say anything they effing want on those sites with very or no repercussions at all. Not for YouTube. I've got moderators here who keep this, all working it, the way it should be. This program documents actual crimes and offenses by criminals. Some of the content covered here may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Your first question is now on your screen. What university was Bryan Kohberger attending when the students at UOI were murdered? That is the University of Idaho, or UI, I guess would be more appropriate. But what university was he attending? Was it A, University of Washington, B, Washington State University, C, University of Idaho, or D, Idaho State University? And of course, you can, as JDR pointed out, if you don't know the answer, you can just put E and then Barry Morphew's Chipmunks. Question number 1 of 20. What university was Bryan Kohberger attending when the students at U of I were murdered? Smoke them if you got them. Trump University. Another slightly successful venture. You can't make the billions if you don't try. You got to keep on hustling. You got to give him credit for hustling all those years and trying different things. Trump Steaks, Trump Airlines, Trump University, Trump Casino. Tried a lot of different things. You got to hustle them. Keep on hustling. All right, question number one. The correct answer is B, as in boy, Washington State University. Question number two. How many students were murdered in the off-campus housing home on November 13th, 2022? Was it A, 4, B, 3, C, 5, or D, 1? Question number two of 20. How many students were murdered in the off-campus housing home on November 13th, 2022? Trumpety dumpety. Do, 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 do. We got Kitty Q, Cement Shoes, Gianna Marie, Pippa Dot, Callie Lisa, Lemon Pie, and JDR are all going with A. And Inner Peas, E. Only Pauly Shore. Purple is going with A as well. Question number two of 20. The correct answer is A, as in apple. Sprinkled Donut, and good evening, Sprinkled Donut. Welcome to tonight's trivia. The correct answer is A. 4 college students were murdered that night, November 13th, 2022, in their off-campus housing. Question number 3. What PhD field was Bryan Kohberger studying at Washington State University? Was it A, drama and dance, B, global financing, C, criminology, or D, how to make friends with a potato? Question number 3 of 20. What PhD field was Bryan Kohberger studying at Washington State University? So Lieutenant RN name is displaying as Lieutenant RN in RNNC, North Carolina, or whatever. It's not a number of Nixon Lieutenant RNs. I don't know why they it's now just showing that. He thinks he is so cool. How to make friends with a potato. If you're not aware of the Palouse region, where that encompasses Moscow and Pullman and in that area, two of the biggest cash crops in that area are lentils and potatoes. A lot and lots and lots of potatoes. Iron catching. Oh, lots. Why did I say? I said iron. Lion catching. Mountain lion catching. The Jersey Shore. All right, question number 3. The correct answer is C, as in cat. Bryan Kohberger was working on his PhD in criminology at the time that the 4 college students at the University of Idaho were murdered. Criminology, although he should have been studying how to make friends with the potato. That'd be more up his field. Question number 4. What key piece of evidence was left behind at the murder scene by the killer? Was it A, a half-eaten sandwich, B, a bloody sock, C, bloody driving gloves, or D, a K-bar knife sheath? You're absolutely right, Sprinkled Donut. They do deserve justice, and hopefully we will get justice for them. Question number 4 of 20. An autograph from the situation. All right, the correct answer to question number 4 is D as in dog. A K-bar knife sheath. Question number 5. How many roommates survived the murderous attack that night in the King Road house? That the house was actually on King Road. That's not, like Roadhouse, place, but King Road house. Was it A, 0, B, 3, C, 2, D, 1? Question number 5 of 20. How many roommates survived the murderous attack that night at the King Road house? There are many YouTubers blaming the DoorDash person. There are many YouTubers, JDR, that, rely upon the shock and awe and speculation to be able to drive views to make money instead of relying upon the facts and let the facts, steer your content. But yes, I have seen a lot of those myself, JDR, where they're like, hey, if she would have, said something or acted, reported it. And that's all in hindsight. Hindsight's 2020, right? As they say. I was the DoorDash person supposed to know that this guy was a creepy, individual, and he was going to murder everyone in the house that he could. Sal, good evening, Sal. Welcome to tonight's trivia, Sal. I hope you had a great week. Question number 5. And make sure you're on all chat, Sal, or live chat. Make sure you're on one of the two. All chat or live chat. That way the comment section corresponds to the questions. You will see the questions in correct time. You will be delayed on actual seeing the comments and people answering the question if you're not on live chat or all chat. People who support Kohberger are called pro-burgers. Are they? Haven't been here in a while, been sick. Well, I hope you're feeling better, Sal. And for anyone else who is under the weather or has a medical condition currently or ongoing, that, I hope that your health improves, and just remember, hope is a very powerful thing. Just keep the hope alive that tomorrow will be a better day. Judah, good evening, Judah. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Come and knock on our door. We've been waiting for you. Three's Company, huh? Inner peas with there. All right, the correct answer is C as in cat. There were 2 roommates that survived the murderous attack that night. 2. Did you know 2 young lovers were struck down that night, the night of November 13th, 2022? Zana Kernodle was in love with and dating Ethan Chapman, who was, by all accounts, madly in love with her as well. Ethan was the only male victim of that night of terror. Question number 6. An oddly shaped duplex of a house that had been altered many times over the years. How many floors did the house have? Was it A, 2 floors, B, 2.5 floors, C, 3 floors, or D, 1 floor? And yes, the house has been demolished. It is no longer there. And there is a chain link fence up around the actual lot. At least the last picture I seen that was taken by a friend of mine who is getting his master's degree at Washington State University. He went over and took a photo of where the house used to be. And at that time, it had a chain link fence to keep people off the property. Because there have been a lot of people who, gone there and tried to do like seances or Instagram or whatever the hell, venue they're doing it for, Facebook Live, whatever. Oddly shaped duplex of a house, very odd in that aspect. But they've been altered many times. According to the county clerk's office, the house that their half of the duplex that they lived in had a total of 8 different construction permits that have been issued for that house over the years. 8 different times their major work was done to the home. All right, the correct answer to question number 6 is C, as in cat. 3 floors. There's the main floor, then there were 2 upstairs floors on top of it. E, 144,000. Yeah, but they did a sprinkled donut. They did a complete 360 video. Wow, I have no idea why it went all that ways. I didn't click on anything. All right, how many roommates survived? We did that question. They did that. Oddly shaped house. I have no idea why it went all the way to break time like that. That was weird. I didn't even touch anything. It's just like all of a sudden, just wet. But anyways. But as I was saying, Sprinkle Donut, they did a 360 video walkthrough of the entire inside and outside of the house. So in the actual trial itself, if the jurors need to, they can touch it on a tablet. They can touch the screen and they can move around from any one position and see all of the house, where it was, all the furnishings and everything else within the place itself. Yes, it is, but I believe that the owner of the property donated it to the University of Idaho. Said, I don't want this place anymore. Probably a giant tax write-off for them, but excuse me. There are people who are still flocked to where the house was, believing that they can summons the spirits of the 4 who were murdered there. Question number 7 is a true or false. All the murdered roommates were students of the University of Idaho. A, false. B, true. C, the answer is B, so guess B. D, the answer isn't A, so guess B or C. That's true, but then again, Sprinkled Donut at the same time, there was no actual guarantee that the judge who was going to be overseeing the trial itself would have allowed for the jury to take a walkthrough of the actual home itself. And how are they going to keep people from flocking away or chipping off parts of the siding and everything else? Because immediately afterwards, people started flocking to this place, and they would have torn the place apart just to get a little souvenir off of it. Just like what happened with Jeffrey Dahmer and the apartment complex he lived in. They eventually had to tear the whole damn thing down and protect it with armed guards while they were removing all the rubble, because people were constantly coming there and trying to collect up whatever they could as a souvenir from it. It's a strange, twisted world that we live in. But yeah, I totally agree with you. It is not the same to see a video, versus being able to have that, hands-on, adventure of seeing the home itself if the jury needed to. I don't think it's, the layout of the house is really going to play all that much into the trial. I think it's going to be more of a, how did he get in? Where were the rooms at? Where were the victims, found at? Where were the two that were alive? Where were they at? And so on. Bunch of gore crows. Yeah. E, the answer is Pee Wee Herman, so guess B. Enter P's A, B, C, or D. Question number 7. If you answered B, C, or D, you are correct. B, C, or D is the correct answer for question number 7. If you answered A, it is false. You are wrong. You do not get credit if you answered A. They were all students of the University of Idaho. Question number 8. According to law enforcement, the Moscow Police Department, the murder started at what time? A, 4:20 a.m., B, 2 a.m., C, midnight, or D, 4 a.m. I still have the Three's Company song I'm playing on loop in my head. Come and knock on our door. We've been waiting for you. Three's Company. Question number 8 of 20. The correct answer is either A or D. A or D. You were correct. According to the Moscow Police Department, who led the investigation into these 4 murders, the murder started sometime around 4-ish. Is all they have ever said in their statements. It was around 4 a.m. ish. So 4 a.m. or 4:20. If you answered either one of those two, you are correct. A or D. Question number 9. How many times did Bryan Kohberger's cell phone ping off the cell tower next to the house before the murders? Was it A, 3 times, B, 19 times, C, 12 times, or D, 6 times? Come and knock on the door. How many times did his cell phone ping off of that cell tower, which was approximately 150 yards from the front door of their home? Because that's how close that cell tower was. It's actually not, it's not technically, you can't call it a cell tower. It's a cell repeater. It boosts the signals in and around that area. It's not technically a cell tower itself. It's a repeater. But still, how many times did it ping off of that tower before the murder? Ooh, Kitty Q is going with double question marks, ladies and gentlemen. 2 question marks. B, double question mark. You know that she's really doubting, herself when it gets up to like 3. Sprinkled Donut thinks it's either B or C. JDR, B or C. Question number 9. The correct answer is C as in cat. 12 times 12 times before the murders actually occurred, Bryan Kohberger's cell phone pinged off of that cell tower, cell repeater before the murders in his Hyundai Elantra is what his car that he was driving. That's not going to be what was Brian's car. So I'll just tell you now, he had a Hyundai Elantra. Question number 10. In which state was Bryan Kohberger arrested and extradited back to Idaho from? Was it A, Florida, B, Pennsylvania, C, New Hampshire, or D, Washington? In which state was Bryan Kohberger arrested and extradited back to Idaho from? Question number 10 of 20. Well, yeah, B, a lot of B's. Which state? Which state was he extradited back from? State of confusion. Oh, yeah, definitely confused. All right, the answer to question number 10 is, in fact, B as in boy. He was extradited back from the state of Pennsylvania. Did you know, on only 2 occasions in the 2 years that Bryan Kohberger had the cell phone he had on his possession when arrested, so I'm talking about that cell phone, he did have others that were not active. But the cell phone that he had for 2 years, that cell phone, only twice on 2 different occasions did he ever turn the phone off or turn it onto airplane mode. At approximately 4 a.m., the night of the murders, Bryan Kohberger turned his cell phone onto airplane mode. Now, remember, he said he was just driving around, the Palouse region, and didn't have any real place to go. But his cellular ping places him near the house, and he turned his phone onto airplane mode the night just before the murders happened. Why would you do that if you're just driving around somewhere, Brian? All right, it is now break time for everyone. We always take a break after the first 10 questions. For the next 7 minutes, we will be on break. Your break does not officially start until I start reading the first case, missing persons case. Every week I cover 2 people that are missing and endangered here in America. These are real, active, open cases of someone who is missing. I am working with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the Charlie Project, the FBI, local and state law enforcement, and NAMAS to help bring and shine a light on these cases, support the families impacted, and keep their stories alive in hope of bringing a resolution. Our first case tonight, someone is missing or endangered. First, I want to give you guys some statistics on people who are reported missing. 72.5% of all adults aged 17 years of age and over. All right, are reported missing fall into these categories, listed from most common to least common reason why they are missing. They just simply move, changed name, or married. Suicide is the number 3. Errors that are in reporting them missing. They were missing for maybe a week. They went on vacation, but there's an error and somebody just doesn't take the listing down from the police department, and they have an active missing, report still form, an error. Another reason, next one is they're avoiding collectors. They owe medical, or they have financial debts that they're avoiding, and that's why they're missing. They just up and leave and are trying to avoid collectors, hounding them or coming after them for the money. Next is medical conditions where they die and are only listed as a Jane Doe or John Doe because nobody else knew them, or they lived in an area where they didn't have immediate family who would go in and say, hey, look, I'm missing, my Uncle Frank or whatever. And then the last of the most common reasons why is they are avoiding an abusive relationship. One domestic partner over another was abusive to the other, and then the other one just says, you know what, I'm just simply going to disappear. I'm not going to take this shit no more. The rest of the percentage that makes up to 100% are unknown and are listed as missing and endangered. And the cases that I do here are all of those. So every single one of the people you will see in the cases that I do here are of the other. They make up that other small percentage up to 100. So with that in mind, our first case tonight is Amelia Jose Antonio. She is 32 years of age. She was last seen on 6/4 of 2009. She vanished from Godwin, North Carolina. She is 5'1", 110 pounds, with brown eyes, black brown hair. She has no known scars or tattoos and no known medical conditions. Amelia disappeared from her residency in Godwin, North Carolina on June 4th, 2009. She was last seen at approximately 4 a.m. Amelia was 16 years old at the time that she vanished. She often colored her hair from black to brown and added red highlights, like neon red highlights, from what I'm told. I have no pictures of it, though. But that's just what is in the notes, the bright red highlights. Authorities believe she left on her own accord and may not even know that she is listed as missing. The very day of her disappearance, she had just returned home from Florida. And she could be anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Now, we need to explore this a little bit more. Amelia, at the age of 16, is what law enforcement called a chronic runaway. She constantly, would just get up and leave, and go and do whatever the hell she wanted. I want to go to a concert in Butte, Montana. She would go with friends, and they'd all go to Butte, Montana to see the concert. She was a runaway, leaving home without permission, doing that, and then she'd come back. Or sometimes she'd get in a fight with her mom or another member of her family, and she just up and leave. Well, the photo you see on the screen is age enhanced to her of the age of 32, not of her as 16. This is closer to what she would look like today as an age enhancement. If you know anything about where Amelia is today, or if you're Amelia, for all we know, she is just, she aged to the point where she's no longer considered, a runaway anymore. And it was only like a year and a half until her 18th birthday. But you can call 910-592-4141 if you know where Amelia is, or if you are Amelia and you want to tell people, look, I'm alive and well, and this is where I'm at. I'm living in Quebec. I don't know, wherever you are, you can call it in. I do not and cannot say if you can remain anonymous by calling a tip to that number. You can also reach out to your local state, police or law enforcement in your area and report, if you know anything about where Amelia is today. Next case is Shay Tyler Torgensen, age 31. Was last seen on 3/26 of 2023 in St. Paul, Minnesota. He is 6 foot tall, even, 185 to 210 pounds, with hazel eyes, brown hair, no scars or tattoos, and no known medical conditions. Torgerson had last contacted his family on March 26, 2023. He was last seen the next day in downtown Minneapolis, Minnesota. Although there is a theory that Torgerson jumped or fell to his death from a bridge, there are no witnesses, no surveillance camera footage, or of anyone falling from the bridge or jumping from the bridge that day or the week afterwards. There have been many of lies spread online about what happened to Shay with no actual proof. His family hopes he is still alive and are still searching for answers in his case. All right, so there was a Facebook page that was originally set up for the disappearance of Shay Torgerson. And there were countless people who just kind of trolled the entire Facebook page because they didn't restrict who could actually, join the page. They didn't have anything in place. So people were speculating everything, about him, everything from he joined a cult to, he threw himself off of a bridge. And they had one particular bridge that they kept on saying that he threw himself off of. Downtown St. Paul, where Shay was last known to have been, and is actually caught on video camera footage. He was sitting down and eating lunch at a restaurant, and then another camera caught him walking in the opposite direction, and that CCTV did not catch where he went after that. But he was nowhere near a bridge. And the bridge that they say he threw himself off of, or he may have jumped from or fell off of, was approximately 8 miles in the opposite direction in St. Paul. I know the city of St. Paul and where that bridge is, and I purposely did not put it in here. I edited that part out because I don't want people to speculate that's what happened to him. He had no, mental health issues, drug or alcohol issues at all. And he was, I wouldn't say struggling at the time from what I've read about, Shay. It was more that he was unhappy with the direction and the work and everything he had at the time. He had a professional life, and no one thought, and no one to this day, except for those trolls on the internet, think that he may have, harmed himself. He could have just simply said, I'm going to strike out and leave and start my own life, and I'm going to, and that's what I'm going to do. Maybe he moved to Florida. Again, it's only been, less than 2 years since he disappeared, around there. But if you know anything about where Shay Torgerson is, you can call 763-494-6100. And you can remain anonymous at that number. That is the tip line for the St. Paul, Minnesota Police Department. If you know anything about where Shay is, or if you, again, are Shay, and you just want to let your family know where you are and that you're alive and well, you can call and leave a tip. Break time is not over with yet. As of right now, you still have 1 minute left of your break. 2 minutes left of your break. Less than 5 seconds. Come and knock on our door. We've been waiting for you. You were with your oldest at the DTR at a restaurant, and they had a little Have you seen me poster? My DTR said, oh my God, I know him. He's on my Facebook. She messaged him and he replied back, shh. Wow. You never know where these people are. You cannot assume that those who are missing are dead. They could have just simply moved away. Suicide is not even the top reason. It's number 3 on the list on why most adults go missing. Sadly, anyone who feels that they've gotten to that point that life is not worth it, it's sad. Do, 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 do. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Without any further delay, let's get back to our normal programming. Question number 11. How many times, oops, get myself in my little window here, forgot that part. How many times on a prior dates to the murders does a cell phone ping place Bryan Kohberger next to the home where the murders took place? Was it A, 4, B, 9, C, 3, or D, 12? Question number 11 of 20. How many times on prior dates to the murders does the cell phone ping place Bryan Kohberger next to the home where the murders took place? And obviously, this is allegedly, because this is going to be coming up in the actual trial itself. Woo, just in time. I fed my dog. And doggy, little doggy. My daughter wants me to get a corgi. I don't want any more pets. I don't want a corgi. Ivory Lady. Good evening, Ivory Lady. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Janap. Good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. Janap 679. Question number 11. How many times prior dates to the murders does the cell phone ping place Bryan Kohberger next to the home where the murders took place? Allegedly. 144,000. They have the cutest little doggy butts and the corgis. I don't want to get a corgi, well, I don't want to get one for my daughter because I know I'm going to end up taking care of it. And that's what I don't want any more pets because of that. Of course, after our last dog died, I said no more pets, and then I ended up with 6 cats. Oh, and that's what I have now is 6, not counting all the ones that I feed. All right, question number 11. The correct answer is B, as in boy. 9 times prior to the murders, on prior dates, his cell phone pinged off of the cell tower repeater next to the home, allegedly. Again, that's definitely gonna come up in the trial itself. Question number 12. What did one of the surviving roommates say they seen that night? Was it A, man wearing black walked past her? B, a man wearing camo was in the house. C, Pauly Shore was there. Or D, a man wearing a baseball hat was there in the hallway. Question 12 of 20. What did one of the surviving roommates say they seen that night? Ooh, A seems to be a popular one. Lemon pie. C, Pauly Shore was there. That damn Pauly Shore. He gets around. The weasel. The weasel. Question number 12. The correct answer is A, as an apple. A man wearing black walked past her. That's the answer to question number 12. Question number 13. If convicted of the 4 murders, what is the maximum sentence Bryan Kohberger can receive? Is it A, life without parole, B, the death sentence times 4, C, 499 years with parole after 313, or D, probation? Question number 13 of 20. If convicted of all 4 murders, what is the maximum sentence Bryan Kohberger can receive? We got a lot of B. B seems to be a popular choice for this one. A lifetime of reading Chad Daybell's books. They should make Chad Daybell's books mandatory reading for all prisoners. But I guess that would be cruel and unusual punishment, wouldn't it? All right, question number 13. The correct answer is B, that he can get the death sentence times 4. Not that the state of Idaho uses the death penalty a lot, but he can receive a death sentence in the state of Idaho, and he could be sentenced to death, times 4. But only one execution. They can't execute him 4 times, only once. Question number 14. What was the main reason the defense cited for needing to have the trial moved out of Latah County? Was it A, so I couldn't attend the trial, a-holes? B, fear for Brian's safety? C, Chad Daybell lived nearby? Or D, a fair jury? Question number 14 of 20. What was the main reason the defense cited for needing to have the trial moved out of Latah County? Good evening, really happy, and welcome to our trivia night. I hope you had a great weekend. I'm glad you could be here with us. Question number 1420. Make sure if you're new here that you are on all chat or live chat. Make sure you're on one of the two. That way the comment section will correspond to the question being asked. Black Rose, good evening. How are you doing, Black Rose? I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a great weekend. Glad you could be here with us tonight for trivia, even if you're just having to listen for now. Question number 14. Question number 14. The correct answer is D, as in dog. Fair jury. That is the reason why they said that they needed to move it out of Latah County, so they'd have a larger selection of people to call for a possible jury, and it would be a fair jury. Now, I'm 76 miles away from where, if they would have kept it in Latah County, I could have gone and actually watched the trial. Moscow is not that far, but Boise, in order to get to Boise, I couldn't just drive there during the day and then drive back. So, yeah, it was so I couldn't go to the damn trial, a-holes. Question number 15. Who is the lead defense attorney for Bryan Kohberger? Is it A, Polly Shore, B, Mark Means, C, Ann Taylor, or D, Ken Meeks? Question number 15 of 20. Who is the lead defense attorney for Bryan Kohberger? Oh, thank you, Black Rose. Question number 15 of 20. Somebody guess B, please. Somebody guess B. There we go. Thank you, Gianna Marie. Judge Hippler is the best thing that's happened to this trial. Dr. Legal. Mike Brady. Everybody remember Mark Means from Lori Vallow's arrest and the crazy lunatic shit that he did? Sorry for my language there, but Mark Means. Oh, good boy. He definitely made the first part of the after her arrest and extradition back from Hawaii. He definitely made it interesting. We never knew what he was going to do next. All right, question number 15. The correct answer is C, as in cat. Ann Taylor is the lead defense attorney for Bryan Kohberger. The knife sheath is the lead hero of this case. Mark Means is in Crazy Town. He forgot he was supposed to be in court. All right. The state police in Pennsylvania didn't have to get a warrant to seize the trash outside of the Kohberger home, but they most certainly did, only because it's a high-profile case. You may not be aware of this, so let me explain to you how a little bit, in simple terms about the trash that is in the trash can. If you are discarding your trash in a trash can or in a trash receptacle, it could be in a public place or your own property, you are considered to be discarding it and removing your actual rights of ownership of the trash. In a lot of jurisdictions across the United States, if you're throwing it away, it's free for anybody else, to take. But they didn't have to get a search warrant for the trash that Bryan himself had carried out and threw into the trash. And that is where they actually got the familial DNA from, was from, the trash itself. But they didn't need the search warrant, but they got one anyways because of the high profile case. And they wanted to cross all their T's and dot all their I's in this case and make sure. And they did get the search warrant for the actual trash itself, even though they could have just went and collected it up anyways. Scott Reich laughed his ass off at Mark Means. I love watching Crime Talk with Scott Reich. I don't think I've missed an episode in years. He does a really good breakdown of a lot of cases. Question number 16. While working on his PhD at Washington State University, what did Brian do to earn extra money? Was he A, a coffee barista at Starbucks, B, a teaching assistant, C, exotic dancer, or D, he picked fruits as a day laborer? John Pryor looked like legal genius next to Means, but Daybell ended up with a DP, while Lori got to plead crazy. Instead of putting the Ziploc bags. Yeah. While working on his PhD at Washington State University, UW, the home of the Cougars. That is the university that I graduated from, Washington State University. What did Brian do to earn extra money? Exotic dancer. Yeah, I mean, it could be. I mean, look at him. He's a tall, young, strapping man. He could have been an exotic dancer. Huh? Do one of those candy stripograms for like birthday parties and stuff. Day trading. He separated all his neighbors' trash for recycling. Question number 16. The correct answer is B. He was a teaching assistant. And that is how Brian made extra money, as a teaching assistant. And there are some people who said that he may have also offered tutoring in some classes that he was a teaching assistant in. But I've never been able to confirm that. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, just about everyone. I took so many lecture classes when I was at school at Washington State University, where I would see the professor the first day, and I wouldn't see them until like the mid-year or the finals in the class. And it was just TAs running the class the rest of the year. Kind of like what Brian probably was doing. He was probably one of the TAs in those classes. I don't know where the hell the professors are, but you couldn't find them. Even if they had office hours, it was hard to get them even then. But I guess that's just the way it goes, right? At least that's my experience from when I went to school there. Question number 17 of 20. What has the court ruled about cameras in the Kohberger case, along with the number of seats for observers? Is it A, limited seating, no live streaming, B, 10 seats for observers, no cameras, C, limited seating, lots of cameras, or D, no ruling at all? Sorry, Cement Shoes. I just read your comment. It's a good thing Cement Shoes hasn't had dinner yet. Otherwise, it might be making a second appearance. Now that the visual is in Cement Shoes' head of Brian being a Chippendales dancer. Anybody remember the Saturday Night Live skit with Chris Farley and Patrick Swayze as trying out to become Chippendales dancers? Patrick Swayze all chiseled, and looking good, and he's on the left side, and on the right side is this overweight, Chris Farley. A very funny skit if you ever get a chance to watch it. What has the court ruled about cameras in the Kohberger case? The correct answer is A. Limited seating for observers, and no live streaming. All video that is shot in the court is delayed and is not a live stream. They can record and then I think they have to wait like 10 minutes before it can be aired. But no live streaming, no. All right. Question number 18. What was the topic of Bryan Kohberger's research study he was working on at the time of the murders? Was it A, why do mountain lions exist? B, understanding criminal emotions? C, understanding the LDS church? Or D, why murder is hard to get away with? Question number 18 of 20. What was the topic of Bryan Kohberger's research study he was working on at the time of the murders? The Chippendales Dancer with Patrick Swayze and Chris Farley is one of your favorite skits. I don't know. I always got a kick out of this. Was it the late 70s, 80s skits with Belushi and Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy as Mr. Rogers or whatever it was. Hi, neighbor. Welcome to the neighborhood. Can you say eviction? Or the Killer Bees with Belushi. I got a lot more, fun out of the older, SNL. The newer stuff, some of it is good, some of it's bad. They're hit or miss, and maybe it's just my interest in my take on comedy has changed over the years. A bigger, badder Bundy. Why did Chad Daybell get the death penalty? His books were top notch. Okay. You shouldn't have studied that one. Question number 18. The correct answer is B as in boy. Understanding criminal emotions was the subject topic of Bryan Kohberger's research study at the time that the murders at the University of Idaho happened. Understanding criminal emotions. Oh, why did skip? All right. Question number 19. Which female victim is missing from this list? Zana Kernodle, blank, and Kaylee Conclaves. Who is missing from that list? Is it A, Sarah Jean Smith, B, Morgan Mogan, C, Janelle Watkins, or D, Madison Mogan? Question number 19 of 20. Which female victim is missing from the list? Which victim is not listed there? Question number 19 of 20. Which victim is not there? Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. The correct answer to question number 19 is D as in dog. Madison Mogan is not there, listed with the other female victims. Question number 20 of 20. What unusual physical clue did police track to Kohberger's car? Was it A, leaking oil, B, leaking radiator fluid, C, tire tread pattern, or D, smell of dirty, smelly clothes? Question number 20 of 20. What unusual physical clue did police track to Kohberger's car? Purple, really happy. Janap, Calisa, John Marie, JDR, Kitty Q, Sal are all going with C. Pippadot C. Cement Shoes C. For somebody who is studying criminology, getting their PhD in criminology at Washington State University, Bryan Kohberger is definitely not the smartest, individual or the brightest star in the sky, as some would say. Susan, coming in late, but I'm glad I'm here for a few moments. Well, you can always watch it and rewind, Susan, and good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a terrific weekend. I want to say everyone is doing so great every answer. Well, the correct answer to question number 20 is C as in cat. They were able to track the tire tread pattern back to Bryan Kohberger's car for two main reasons. One, the tire tread pattern is a very unique tire tread pattern that is not sold anywhere in the Palouse or Pullman area. And two, that tread pattern had been discontinued years prior. So they knew whatever vehicle it was, and with this unique tire tread pattern, had to be, a car that was from outside of the area, and it matched perfectly the forensically to the pattern that was left there at the scene. Bryan Kohberger was arrested in Pennsylvania at his parents' home in the early morning hours of December 30th, just before New Year's Eve. He had plans that night to go out with friends. Yeah, because he's got friends. That's a statement from them that he was going out with friends. How did you do? This is completely optional. Some people like to give themselves a letter grade on it. We're only playing for fun and for entertainment purposes only. So again, it's optional if you want to give yourself a letter grade A, B, C, or D. Everyone is a rock star and get rock star status as far as I'm concerned. Of the 20 questions tonight, I knew 17 of the 20. Now I'm going to give you a sneak peek at a poll question. I post a poll question every single week in the community tab on Mondays before 10 a.m. Most of the time, it's somewhere between 5 a.m. and 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I post a question. So this is a 24-hour advance notice, pretty much, of the next poll question. You don't have to answer tonight. You can answer it there if you want to. But the question this week is: should law enforcement have to get a warrant to search and seize your trash? Should they have to get a warrant for that? Yes, no, maybe, depends on the case. No opinion, it's trash, so have at it, copper. The hill going down side of the house. Whoop, whoop. Kitty Q only missed 2. I've had a really good time. That's all that matters, Pippadot. is that everyone enjoyed the trivia and the experience of being here and answering trivia questions tonight. And I hope everyone had fun and maybe you learned something new about the case. But that is trivia. Chat is still open. We're still here for a little bit. You don't have to leave. Again, this was the 362nd, 362 nights now of trivia. That's a lot of trivia. A lot of trivia you could binge watch night after night after night. It's not all on murders. There are trivia nights that are, music related, movie related, but it's crime in the movie industry, crime in the, in the music industry, or music and movie industry. It's all crime related. But 362 episodes now are behind us. Where should we go from here? There were some black marks alleged from his tires. Ton of trivia, yes. Kitty Q says the trash isn't out on the street. They should get a warrant for it. Callie Lisa. Will, what? Hello, Callie Lisa. Stay safe out there. You never know who's standing next to you next. You never know who's going to be knocking at your door. Thank you, Purple. I will keep that in mind. Got to rewind and over the sea all the questions and choices. Has anybody got a topic that they would like to suggest for trivia night? Every single one of these trivia nights is viewer suggested. I don't just randomly, pick ones that I think are interesting. I want to challenge myself to see if, about, cases and murderers, psychopaths. You learn something new from all of them. You good night to you as well, Gianna Marie. And you have a great week as well, Purple. Thank you for being here with us tonight. Angela Simpson. I would write it down in my little black book, Cement Shoes, but I left it in the house by mistake. Douglas Gretzler. Marsha Brady. Marsha. Serial killer. I believe Douglas Gretzler was a serial killer. Simpson murdered a disabled man in Arizona. That's Angela Simpson. How many people has Marsha Brady killed? I bet you, if any of them were serial killers of the Brady bunch, I bet you it was Jan. Look at her. She was just dying for attention. Nobody gave her the attention. She almost got DP'd. She's in the same prison as Jodi Arias. Wow. There's the scum of the earth. Well, one of them. You have a great week, Sal. Thank you again for being here with us tonight. Sure have some great stories I'd send when I'm medically better. Will you please do, Pippadot, whenever you feel up to it. It took 3 days. She tortured him. Wow. Marcia. But I mean, think about it. If any of them were, and if any of the boys was, a serial killer out of the Brady bunch, I bet you it'd be like Peter. Peter was too clean cut and just had everything going right for him. And I'm like, that he's hiding something. Peter, if one of the boys was a serial killer, and Jan, it was, for one of the girls. Now, wouldn't that be, interesting if, the supporting cast wise, one of the others were like a serial killer, kind of like, one of the kids from school, one of the boys' friends, or the girls' friends who came and hung out with them at the house. Well, thank you, Pip. I thought. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up tonight's trivia. But before I go, I just want to thank everyone again for being here with us. If you would please, on the way out, if you enjoyed tonight's content, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, we play live trivia every single Sunday at the same time. It's always at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 o'clock Mountain, 6 Central, or 7 o'clock Eastern. That is also 12 midnight in the UK if you're overseas. But every single week, every Sunday, and I do a live stream every single Saturday as well. That is called Page 2 News, where I cover underreported news, or put a greater context to stories that are in the news now that people skim over because they're not sensational. Can you remember? Imagine Eddie Haskell from the Beaver being a killer. I could see that. I could also see Wally being a killer too. But thank you again, everyone, for being here tonight, and thank you again for everyone who supports this content. You have a terrific week ahead, and I will see you again soon. Bye.